Good morning and welcome back to the channel where I'm currently reading the book of Judges. We're going to start with chapter 11 in just a moment. Father, as I read and receive your word, may it deeply be rooted in me, so when difficulty comes, it will be your word that encourages and strengthens me. Amen. So chapter 11 is Jepthah becomes Israel's judge. Now Jepthah of Gilead was a great warrior. He was the son of Gilead, but his mother was a prostitute. Gilead's wife also had several sons, and when these half-brothers grew up, they chased Jepthah off the land. "You will not get any of our father's inheritance," they said, "for you are the son of a prostitute." So Jepthah fled from his brothers and lived in the land of Tob. Soon he had a large band of rebels following him. At about this time, the Ammonites began their war against Israel. When the Ammonites attacked, the leaders of Gilead sent for Jepthah in the land of Tob and said, "Come and be our commander, help us fight the Ammonites." But Jepthah said to them, "Aren't you the ones who hated me and drove me from my father's house? Why do you come to me now when you're in trouble?" "Because we need you," they replied. "If you will lead us in battle against the Ammonites, we will make you ruler over all the people of Gilead." Jepthah said, "If I come with you, and if the Lord gives me victory over the Ammonites, will you really make me ruler over all the people?" "The Lord is our witness," the leaders replied. "We promise to do whatever you say." So Jepthah went with the leaders of Gilead, and he became the ruler and commander of the army. At Mizpah, in the presence of the Lord, Jepthah repeated what he had said to the leaders. Then Jepthah sent messengers to the king of Ammon, demanding to know why Israel was being attacked. The king of Ammon answered Jephthah's message, "When the Israelites came out of Egypt, they stole my land from the Ammon River to the Jabbok River, and all the way to the Jordan. Now then, give back the land peaceably." Jepthah sent this message back to the Ammonite king. This is what Jepthah says: "Israel did not steal any land from Moab or Ammon. When the people arrived at Kadesh on their journey from Egypt after crossing the Red Sea, they sent messengers to the king of Edom asking for permission to pass through his land. But their request was denied. Then they asked the king of Moab for similar permission, but he wouldn't let them pass through either. So the people of Israel stayed in Kadesh. Finally, they went around Edom and Moab through the wilderness. They traveled along Moab's eastern border and camped on the other side of the Arnon River. But they never once crossed the Arnon River into Moab. Then Israel sent messengers to King Sihon of the Amorites, who ruled from Heshbon, asking for permission to cross his land to get to their destination. But King Sihon didn't trust Israel to pass through his land. Instead, he mobilized his army at Jahaz and attacked them. But the Lord, the God of Israel, gave his people victory over King Sihon. So Israel took control of all the land of the Amorites who lived in that region, from the Arnon River to the Jabbok River, and from the wilderness to the Jordan. So you see, it was the Lord, the God of Israel, who took away the land from the Amorites and gave it to Israel. Why then should we give it to you? You keep whatever your God Shemos gives you, and we will keep whatever the Lord our God gives us. Are you any better than the Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he try to make a case against Israel for disputed land? Did he go to war? No, of course not. But now, after 300 years, you make an issue of this. Israel has been living here all this time and spread across the land from the Heshbon to the Arvor, and in the following towns along the Arnon River. Why have you made no effort to recover it before now? I have not sinned against you. Rather, you have wronged me by attacking me. Let the Lord, who is judge, decide today which of us is right, Israel or Ammon." But the king of Ammon paid no attention to Jephthah's message. Jephthah's vow. At that time, the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jepthah, and he went throughout the land of Gilead and Manasseh, including Mizpah and Gilead, and led an army against the Ammonites. And Jepthah made a vow to the Lord. He said, "If you give me victory over the Ammonites, I will give to the Lord the first thing coming out of my house to greet me when I return in triumph. I will sacrifice as a burnt offering." So Jepthah led his army against the Ammonites, and the Lord gave him victory. He thoroughly defeated the Ammonites from Aroer and to an area near Minnith, 20 towns, and as far away as Abel Karanim. Thus Israel subdued the Ammonites. When Jepthah returned home to Mizpah, his daughter, his only child, ran out to meet him, playing on a tambourine and dancing for joy. When he saw her, he tore his clothes in anguish. "My daughter," he cried out, "my heart is breaking. What a tragedy that you came out to greet me, for I have made a vow to the Lord and cannot take it back." And he said, "Father, you have made a promise to the Lord. You must do to me what you have promised. For the Lord has given you great victory over your enemies, the Ammonites. But first let me go up and roam in the hills and weep with my friends for 2 months because I will die a virgin." "You may go," Jepthah said, and he let her go away for 2 months. She and her friends went into the hills and wept because she would never have children. When she returned home, her father kept his vow, and she died a virgin. So it has become a custom in Israel for young Israelite women to go away for 4 days each year to lament the fate of Jephthah's daughter. Chapter 12. Ephraim fights with Jepthah. Then the tribe of Ephraim mobilized its army and crossed over to Zaphon. They sent his message to Jepthah, "Why didn't you call for us to help you fight against Ammon? We are going to burn down your house with you in it." "I summoned you at the beginning of the dispute, but you refused to come," Jepthah said. "You failed to help us in our struggle against Ammon. So I risked my life and went to battle without you. And the Lord gave me victory over the Ammonites. So why have you come to fight me?" The leaders of Ephraim responded, "The men of Gilead are nothing more than rejects from Ephraim and Manasseh." So Jephthah called out his army and attacked the men of Ephraim and defeated them. Jepthah captured the shallows of the Jordan, and whenever a fugitive from Ephraim tried to go back across, the men of Gilead would challenge him. "Are you a member of the tribe of Ephraim?" they would ask. If the man said, "No, I'm not," they would tell him to say Shibboth. If he was from Ephraim, he would say Shibboleth. Because people from Ephraim cannot pronounce the word correctly, nor can I. Then they would take him and kill him at the shallows of the Jordan River. So 42,000 Ephraims were killed at that time. Jepthah was Israel's judge for 6 years. When he died, he was buried in one of the towns of Gilead. Ibzan becomes Israel's judge. After Jepthah, Ibzan became Israel's judge. He lived in Bethlehem, and he had 30 sons and 30 daughters. He married his daughters to men outside his clan and brought in 30 young women from outside his clan to marry his sons. Ibzan judged Israel for 7 years. When he died, he was buried at Bethlehem. Elon becomes Israel's judge. After him, Elon from Zebulun became Israel's judge. He judged Israel for 10 years. When he died, he was buried at Ajalon in Zebulun. Abdon becomes Israel's judge. After Elon died, Abdon, son of Hillel from Parathon, became Israel's judge. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons, who rode on 70 donkeys. He was Israel's judge for 8 years. Then he died and was buried in Parathon in Ephraim, in the hill country of the Amalekites. Chapter 13. The birth of Samson. Again, the Israelites did what was evil in the Lord's sight, so the Lord handed them over to the Philistines, who kept them in subjection for 40 years. In those days, a man named Manoah, from the tribe of Dan, lived in the town of Zorah. His wife was unable to become pregnant, and they had no children. The angel of the Lord appeared to Manoah's wife and said, "Even though you have been unable to have children, you will soon become pregnant and give birth to a son. You must not drink wine or any alcoholic drink or eat any forbidden food. You will become pregnant and give birth to a son, and his hair must never be cut. For he will be dedicated to God as a Nazarite from birth. He will rescue Israel from the Philistines." The woman ran and told her husband, "A man of God appeared to me. He was like one of the God's angels, terrifying to look at. I didn't ask where he was from, and he didn't tell me his name. But he told me, 'You will become pregnant and give birth to a son. You must not drink wine or any other alcoholic drink or eat any forbidden food. For your son will be dedicated to God as a Nazarite from the moment of his birth from the day of his death.'" Then Manoah prayed to the Lord. He said, "Lord, please let the man of God come back to us again and give us more instructions about this son who is to be born." God answered his prayer, and the angel of God appeared once again to his wife, and she was sitting in the field. But her husband Manoah was not with her. So she quickly ran and told her husband, "The man who appeared to me the other day is here again." Manoah ran back with his wife and asked, "Are you the man who talked to my wife the other day?" "Yes," he replied, "I am." So Manoah asked him, "When your words come true, what kind of rules should govern the boy's life and work?" The angel of the Lord replied, "Be sure your wife follows the instructions I gave her. She must not eat grape or raisins, drink wine or any other alcoholic drink, or any forbidden food." Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "Please stay here until we can prepare a young goat for you to eat." "I will stay," the angel will reply, "but I will not eat anything. However, you may prepare a burnt offering as a sacrifice to the Lord." Manoah didn't realize it was the angel of the Lord. Then Manoah asked the angel of the Lord, "What is your name? For when all becomes true, we want to honor you." "Why do you ask my name?" the angel replied. "You wouldn't understand if I told you." Then Manoah took a young goat and a grain offering and offered it on a rock as a sacrifice to the Lord. And as Manoah and his wife watched, the Lord did an amazing thing. As the flames from the altar shot up toward the sky, the angel of the Lord ascended in the fire. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell with their faces to the ground. The angel did not appear again to Manoah and his wife. Manoah finally realized it was the angel of the Lord and said to his wife, "We will die, for we have seen God." But his wife said, "If the Lord were going to kill us, he wouldn't have accepted our burnt offering and grain offering. He wouldn't have appeared to us and told us the wonderful thing and done these miracles." When her son was born, they named him Samson, and the Lord blessed him as he grew up. And in Abdon, which is located between the towns of Zor and Eshtaol, the Spirit of the Lord began to take hold of him. Well, thank you for joining me today. I will see you tomorrow. We'll read to you tomorrow, where we'll start with chapter 14. Thank you.